let's start with our breathing. So you're going to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. You can inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale to draw the abdominals in. Inhale and exhale. Nice, slow, deep breath. Then on this next one, we'll go ahead and roll all the way down to the mat. Keeping those knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Continuing to breathe, inhale through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. Inhale and exhale. So if you wanted to have a hand on the abs, a hand on the chest, you can feel your chest rise as you inhale. You should feel your abdominals flatten down as you exhale. Then we'll go into our imprint, which is drawing the abdominals down until the lower back hits the mats. Exhale, imprints. You're going to feel your tailbone come off the mat. Inhale, neutral, tailbone back on the mat, space under the lower back. Exhale, imprint. Inhale, neutral. We're going to hold on to this next imprint and lift the legs to tabletop one at a time. 90-degree knee bend, table legs, tabletop with the shins. Exhale, lower, tap the toes, inhale, return. Exhale. Inhale. Oh, there goes my zoom out. Exhale. Inhale. Such an interesting thing about this field of view change in the middle of the zoom. So the goal here is that you're really trying hard to maintain the imprint with the strength of your abdominals. And the legs moving just kind of distract from that. It's like increasing the challenge. It's as if you were working on your balance standing in a canoe or rowboat. And if the water is still, it's pretty easy. But then someone starts to rock the boat, and now you have to work hard to maintain your balance. Both legs are going to go down. Exhale. So this is creating more challenge to the abdominals, more work to stabilize, hold on to the imprint when both legs are lowering. Okay, quads to start feeling a little fatigued. And last one, go ahead and release the heel to the butts. And that should release the quads. And usually we can just place our feet down and it's in the right position for shoulder bridge. For our shoulder bridge, press the feet, lift your tailbone, and heel your spine up, one vertebra at a time. As you reach the knees away from the shoulders, inhale at the top, exhale, slowly roll down. So being aware of your spine as it lifts one vertebra at a time, getting those hips up to just in between the shoulders and knees. Inhale at the top, exhale, slowly roll down. Again, from the mid-back down to the low back and finally the tailbone. So keep going at your own pace. And I don't have any official stop breaks, but you can always stop and take water at any time. Let's do one more. And we're going to ab prep. So we want those fingertips reaching toward the toes. Reach, reach, reach. Nod the chin, lift the head, neck, and shoulder blades. And that's your ab prep. Inhale, hold. Exhale, lower back down. Inhale, exhale, nod and lift. Inhale, hold, keeping those abdominals nice and braced. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale. This is a 4-breath pattern. So basically do an inhale and exhale on the way up, and an inhale and exhale on the way down. The 2-breath pattern would be an exhale on the way up and an inhale on the way down. So depending on how slowly you want to move, you can set up the breathing for that. So similar to rocking the boat, I'm going to use the arms and start pumping, and that's going to create challenge for our abdominals to hold still. I'm going to lift my legs off the floor, but feel free to keep your feet down. 100 times. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 10, inhale. Exhale. 20, inhale. Chin nodded, exhale. 30, eye gaze on the knees, exhale. 40, inhale. Exhale. 50, inhale. Exhale. 60, inhale. Exhale. 70. 80, inhale. Exhale. 90, inhale. And exhale. Yeah, there's several leg positions for hundreds. I have like really tight hamstrings today, so I just did not straighten my legs. We're coming on to our stomach. With the forearms on the floor, we're going to gently press into the entire forearm from fingertips to elbows to help lift the chest off the ground. The muscles we're helping are the muscles around your spine. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. We'll keep the tops of the feet on the floor for now. Continue using forearm assists if you need, otherwise take it away. Inhale. As you lift your chest, with the arms reaching toward the toes, maybe you'll squeeze your shoulder blades a little bit more. Exhale, release. If you'd like to lift the legs, you're going to lift the legs nice and straight. Reach fingertips and toes to the back of the room. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. I'm doing a hip extension here. A little more work into the glutes and lower back. All right. From here, you come up, and we're going to give yourself a little stretch. Stretching the spine muscles, creating that roundness. We might be already rounding the spine a lot throughout our day, but that in particular is a stretch. All right. For half rollback, we're going to keep the arms at parallel, starting with a neutral spine. Exhale. Tuck the tailbone under as if you're going to roll all the way down. Stop when you're about halfway down. Inhale. Lengthen. Exhale. Roll down. I want to get my lower back. My lower back almost like initiates. My abs draw in, my lower back starts to reach toward the floor. Just before my lower back is about to touch the floor, I stop and reverse the motion. Anchoring the toes to the floor. So to add some arm variations, I'm going to bring one hand across the shoulder and back to the front. And if you want to keep a roundness in your spine as you sit up, you may. Or if you really want to work on moving from flexion to neutral, each time you come to vertical, you can try to lengthen through the crown of your head. Exhale here. We'll do 2 more. You can continue with the single arm cross, or you can cross both arms. Like you're giving yourself a hug. A hug that really works your abs. So I'm going to roll all the way down. I'm going to have us keep our knees as is and try a roll. this actually looks like a very traditional sit-up. So if you recall doing sit-ups way back in the day, we'd have our knees bent and we just like throw our whole body up. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to use momentum, but we're going to try to do this in a slow, flowing, controlled manner. Inhale, arms, head, shoulders, exhale. Now by having our knees bent, we can recruit the hip flexors to help us sit up. So it's a little easier to roll up and roll down when your knees are bent. There is work in both directions. So as I'm inhaling and reaching my arms, I'm exhaling here. Yes, there's a lot of work to peel my spine off the mat because I'm coming up against gravity. But on the way down, I don't just want to fall. I want to slowly lower myself, resisting gravity, and feel the work in my abs. So in both directions, there's abdominal work. Inhale. Exhale through the most challenging parts of the roll-up, which is when the spine comes up. Inhale at the top. I'm starting to roll back here a little bit on the inhale, but exhaling here where it's the most challenging. And if you'd like to try the leg straight, we kind of take away the hip flexors. I mean, the hip flexors still do kick in eventually, but just not right away. Inhale. More abs here. Hip flexors probably kick in when my spine mostly comes up. Stretch forward. Oh, I really need the stretch. Inhale, we start rolling back. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Remember to keep those shoulders down. I know we're really focused on our abs right now. But we also want to keep in mind the positions of other joints and limbs in our body as we do this. So as I'm rolling back, I am creating tension in my abs, but I still want to keep this whole neck and shoulder area pretty relaxed. Last one here. I'm going to pull my knees in for single leg stretch. So you can gently put a hand on the knee, guide it in towards the chest as the other leg reaches out on the diagonal. You can play around with angles, a little higher versus a little lower. Head, neck, and shoulder blades can be up or down. I'm just slowly, gently transferring my arms from one side to another. Exhale, reach, inhale, switch, exhale, reach, inhale, switch. And then this might get a little tight, so if you want to put your hands back here for obliques, you can. Now, if your neck isn't too tired, you can try an arm variation of obliques, which is reaching just to the outside of the knee. So there is no neck support here, but you're kind of reaching the arms forward and up, which helps a little bit to keep your shoulder blades off the floor. Sometimes when we bring our arms back here, the weight of our arms just takes our shoulder blade down. All right, so this might increase a little bit of abdominal work. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's do our double leg stretch variation that we did last week. So we're going to squeeze our knees together and feet together and start in tabletop. We're going to exhale to lower both. Inhale, return. And then exhale, straighten it to any diagonal you like. Okay? So exhale here. Inhale, return. Exhale, straighten. Now you don't have to take the toes all the way to the floor, just like in the warm-up. If you feel like you're losing imprint, just take it part way down. And if you feel like you're losing imprint, then take your legs a little more vertical. But if you want to challenge your abs a little bit more, then you take your legs more on the diagonal. I'm going to add a final little head, neck, and shoulder lift. So as I stretch my legs out on the diagonal, I'm going to reach and come to what would typically be a 100 position. Return. Exhale, lower the toes. Inhale to tabletop. Exhale, stretch out both legs and lift head, neck, and shoulders while we're reaching with the fingertips. Inhale, return. Exhale, toes. I'm still imprinted. Inhale. Exhale. You don't have to add this head, neck, and shoulder lift. You can absolutely keep your head and shoulders down on the floor. Let's do one more here. It's just a double leg stretch variation. Now we're going to go into scissors. Great hamstring stretch. Oh, again, I'm so tight today. We're going to inhale to switch. Exhale, find that stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Head can be down. You might not be able to reach as high in your leg, but that's okay. I'm going to try to keep the legs straight, stretch those hamstrings, work the quads. I'm inhaling as my legs switch places and exhale on the hold. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. So hopefully by the end of that series, your abs are pretty fatigued. Call the abs series for a reason. So we'll come back for a stretch of the abs by working on the spine. So go ahead and reach your arms on the diagonal to the corners of the mats. And you'll lift the right arm and the left leg and lower. Lift the left arm and the right leg and lower. And you can stay right here with this movement pattern. My chest comes up a little bit because my chest is connected to my arm through the shoulders. So as I lift an arm, my chest just lifts a little bit. And because my head and neck are connected through my chest, through the torso and rib cage and the spine, there's a gentle lifting of the head as well. So it would be incorrect if I put my nose down, lifted my arms, and kept my nose down. All right, because it's not allowing the head and neck to travel with the spine. Now, if you want to pick up the pace a little bit for a reciprocal switch, you can lift right arm, left leg off the ground. And as you lower those two, you're going to lift the other two. So it's a switch, 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 switch. Feel free to try this option or continue with the other option of switching after you lift and lower. It's a little more challenging because your spine muscles and glutes are constantly on. And 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. All right. Hold your elbows in. So it's underneath your shoulders. We're going to get into a plank. There are many ways of getting into a plank, and you absolutely can come from up top. If you ever come from down low, so basically your hips are on the ground and you're going to lift up into the plank, it could hurt your lower back. It depends on your situation. But one thing to prevent it from hurting is that you brace before you lift. So while we're down here, my elbows are under my shoulders, first of all, I'm going to activate my quads. If this is a relaxed leg, I'm going to activate my quads. And see how by squeezing my butt and squeezing my quadriceps, my leg straightens and kind of just pulls off the mat. And before I lift, I'm going to draw my abs up and in. So this is my abs relaxed. This is my quads relaxed. Quads engaged, abs engaged. Right? So you can see that lift in my torso. And I still haven't lifted my hips yet, but I'm drawing my abdominals up and in toward my spine. So I'm pretty much preparing everything, but I'm pushing on my forearms. I'm preparing every muscle in my body, and for the plank, and the final thing I gotta do is lift. But when I lift, I'm doing it from a strong position. My abs are already engaged, my quads are already engaged, my butt is as engaged as it can be. All right? The reason why your butt can't be too engaged is because you're still in an arched position, but now you're here. Good. So that's how you get into a plank if you're going to lift it from the floor up. 2 breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And then the other version would you start with your butt high, right? And then you just lower, lower, lower. Okay. Let's come to our sides. So if you let your arm be parallel to the front edge and then the rest of your body parallel to the front edge, then you can be guaranteed that you're in a straight line. Lift the top arm up for a moment. Just make sure you're feeling a little unstable. That way you know you're in the right position on the side seam of your pants. And then place a few fingers down. You also place a knuckle if that feels better for you. This is just a little kickstand for balance. We're going to inhale, point, and lift the top leg. Make sure that hip's not hiking. This is a hiked hip. I said hiked hip. That's not what I meant to say. Hiked hip. And then this is a hip that is stacked properly. All right. I hope it's a small difference, but it makes a big difference when you're doing Pilates. And from here, you're going to flex the foot and lower. Kneecaps and toes all face front. So you should always be able to see my pinky toe. If I've started to externally rotate my top leg, my pinky toe immediately disappears. So often the talk is, please keep showing me your pinky toes. So this is the basic sideline leg lift. You want the legs, both of them, straight and engaged. Abdominals are also engaged for stabilization. Now lift the top leg up, and here we can keep the toes pointed, and circle forward for 5. Very small and slow. 4. Stay with me. 3. Yeah, we're moving that slowly. 2. And 1. Reverse direction. Inhale. 5. Exhale. 4. Inhale. 3. Very small. Probably the size of a small line. But line's all the same size. 2. And 1. Good. And you're going to lift both legs. Don't worry about lifting very high. The highest it's going to go is probably hip height because you want your feet to stay connected. It starts to work a little bit into the obliques. Exhale, lift, inhale in. But we still want those toes reaching away and staying in neutral position. Now we do heel clicks. Sometimes they call this, Wizard of Oz, Dorothy. Like, what is it? Click your heels 3 times and you're home. So you lift your legs, and you click. 3, 2, 1. And come back down. Lift. 3, 2, 1. Just a little bit of coordination here. Add some excitement to leg lifts. 3, 2, 1. And then let's try to do it for 15 times. Stay up there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wait. Did I count that right? I don't even know. All right, before we go to the other side, we're going to come onto our elbows. Yep, and here you keep the legs straight, but it's a little weird not to do that, so I find it easier to just bend the bottom knee. And we're going to do 1 leg raise, 1 hip raise. All right, so like I said, you can do this with your legs straight. You can do 1 leg raise, and the thing is, I just feel like I'm going to fall backwards when I do it with my legs straight and propped. And so 1 leg raise and 1 hip raise with the bottom knee bent. You still get the benefit of lifting the hip, this outer thigh work, and you still really get the benefit of the core of the oblique work here, even with the bottom leg bent. So I just prefer keeping the bottom knee bent. Lift, lower. So when you lift the top leg and you're propped up, it does feel a little different than when you're lying down. Stay lifted and strong through the shoulder. Give me 2 more here. I'm flexing my foot. I can see that my foot's staying parallel, but if you point your toes, just make sure you can, your pinky toe is also facing forward. Last one here. Okay, let's go to the other side. Once again, use the edge of the mat so you know you're in a straight line. Let's check our hips. Is it height? Is it down? It's always helpful when I wear different color clothes. Sometimes I wear all black and you can't tell anything about my hips. Inhale, point, lift, exhale, flex, lower. Now, you can inhale or exhale on the way up or down. As long as you're alternating your breath, I'm good. You're good. We're all good because we're all breathing. When we first start these leg lifts, you think to yourself, oh, I could do this forever. It doesn't feel like anything. But after a while, you do start to feel that outer thigh. Great exercise to do if you have any knee injury, because you're able to strengthen the quad and the muscles around the knee without, standing on it, without direct pressure on the knee. So we're making our little circles. Point to toe, size of a line. Inhale for 1. Exhale for 2. I'm going as slow as you are. Inhale for 3. 4. 5. Reverse for 5. Making these circles right around hip height. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Good. Top leg is tired, so let the bottom leg do some of the work. Okay, we're going to do our heel clicks. We'll do several sets of 3s, and then we'll do a set of more. Lift up. 3, 2, 1. Lower and lift. I basically inhale here, and I exhale to lift and do the 3 beats. The challenge is that you have to hold your legs up a little higher. You have to hold your legs up high and keep it there while you do some coordinated movements. So let's do this 15 times. I'll just say stop. It's really hard for me to count that quickly. Here we go. And pause. For pause, it means stop. Okay. Bend the bottom knee. Prop yourself up. Don't really need the kickstand hand anymore, so let's lift it up. Lift the top leg. Lift the hip. I did some of this class exercises last week. I never knew, so just wanted to revisit it before we forgot it again. Sometimes the new stuff is a little more choreography intensive. Pilates has a basic set of like about 45 to 50 exercises, and then a lot of them after that is just variation based on the same Pilates principles. Alignment, symmetry, balance. Let's do one more here. All right, good. Outer thighs could really use a quick stretch. So you take that ankle over the knee. And if it's not enough for a stretch, you just pull everything in towards your chest. And then switch. Again, if this is a stretch for you, stay right here. If not, pull everything in. Do our shoulder bridge or hip bridge with some external movement. So basically turning our kneecap from facing upward out to the side. So the first thing we're going to do is lift the hips. Remember that knee is going to reach away from the shoulder, or glutes are squeezing, or abs are squeezing. Right now we're in neutral. Your knees and feet should be hip distance apart, more or less. At most, shoulder distance apart. But now we're going to open up the knees, which means the soles of your feet come off the ground, and you're on the outer edge of your foot. Right? Sometimes we call that the blade of the foot. Now, the issue happens when we go out and our butt drops. So, what we're going to try really hard to do is to open up and then pulse. So, stay open, drop a little bit, and then pulse back up, but not into hyperextension, back to neutral. Allow just a small drop of your hips in external. Stay balanced on the blades of your foot. And you should feel your butt in sort of a different way because you are externally rotated. Let's do 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, I don't know which is harder because, you always have to do one first, and then by the time you do the other one, you're already tired. But now we're going to do the pulsing in neutral. So bring your feet back to the floor, soles of your feet back to the floor, push those hips up, find that neutral, and do the same pulse. And yes, this is working your glutes in a different way, but I would almost argue that this is just easier. But maybe it's because I'm used to doing it this way. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, and just to be very, very thorough, we're going to do internal rotation. So I'm going to just have you bring your knees together and take your feet a little wider than you have. All right? Maybe your feet are around shoulder distance apart and your knees are together. This is internal rotation. You're kind of on the arches of your foot, but you're still mostly in the soles of your feet. And again, this is going to feel different as you push your hips up. Keep your knees connected. All right? Now, if this bothers your knee to have this internal rotation, the internal rotation is happening at the hip. However, I understand that can still affect your knees. Feel free to go back to neutral or do the external rotator. All right, and here we lift. Lift. Knees together, feet are wide, about shoulder distance. Because my knees are together, as I'm pushing my butt up, I feel my inner thighs just squeeze in towards each other every single time. So I'm feeling a lot more inner thighs as well as my glutes. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So basically, we're just working on extending the hip with different rotations at the hip. And I know none of us walk in external rotation, or well, maybe some of us do. Like ballerinas, for instance, walk turned out a lot. And some people walk knock-kneed. But I wouldn't say that that's like the ideal situation for our knee. So we're going to do turnout again. And this time we're going to bring our heels together. So we're back onto our front side. And once you have your heels connected, so take your knees a little wider than your hips. Actually, it might be as wide as your yoga mat. And then you want to connect your heels. And then from this point on, you don't want to disconnect them. All right? So you want to squeeze your heels together. Like there's a very important piece of paper there, or, $100 bill. And then once you stop squeezing, you don't want to drop the $100 bill. So you keep your heels connected. So squeeze versus not squeeze. Now, as you're looking at me, you probably can't tell what's happening. But I know I can feel it. So let's rest the head and shoulders from here. Exhale to squeeze the heels together. Really as hard as you can. It's like you're arm wrestling with your heels, and who's going to win? It's a tie. And then inhale to not squeeze. Don't separate the feet. Just stop squeezing. Exhale, squeeze. I'm just turning my head to look at you, but you actually want your forehead down on the hand and have your head and neck in neutral position, staring straight into the darkness of your mat. So there's nothing important to see anymore. You know what we're doing. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale to not squeeze. I'm flexing my feet so that I can really bring the heels together. If you point your toes, then it's harder to squeeze the heels. All right, before I get too tired, we're going to try lifting up the knees. Now, this intensely takes it into the butt and the lower back. So if this feels like it's too much for your lower back or butt, continue squeezing without the lift of your thighs. So I'm squeezing and lifting at the same time. And once again, it's feel it really in my butt. Exhale, squeeze and lift. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, squeeze and lift. I'm squeezing the heels together and using my butt to lift the thighs and knees right off the floor. Let's do about 3 more. This is pretty intense. All right, good. So let's do some teasers. So teaser is like the roll up, but with our legs off the ground. This also is similar to rolling like a ball. So from here, from tabletop, reach your arms by your ears, and then lift the arms. Reach like you're going to touch your toes. And when you start to get really close to your toes and lift the head, neck, and shoulders up, kick those legs out and use your abdominals to roll yourself up into a balance. Inhale here. Exhale, do the reverse. Extend the legs, roll your spine down, pull your knees in, return your arms by the ears. Arms, head, shoulders, legs, spine. And then we do legs and spine pretty much simultaneously. Return the legs, return the head, return the arm. Should be pretty much the reverse order. Again, arms, head, shoulders, legs and abs, pretty much at the same time. Legs and abs open up together, counterbalance each other out. Pull the leg back in, return the shoulders, head, and arms. Yeah. So make it nice, slow, controlled slow. Inhale. Exhale and keep your legs straight. Inhale. Exhale. Exhale takes you all the way back to the start. Inhale, arms. Exhale. Inhale for that hold. Exhale, start to roll down. And again, the exhale takes you all the way back to the starting position. Let's do one more. Perfect. And we roll a little bit. So I know you rolled up into your teaser, but there's also an exercise called rocking. This might feel like a nice spine massage, but every time you come up, you want to crunch your abs. Crunch. Crunch. Grab onto your shins and try not to let your legs extend. Oops. You're balancing on your tailbone. You should be able to decelerate and control, pausing when you want to, rolling when you want, and pausing. Now, if you roll up and you're like, oh, I didn't quite make it, oh, and you fall again, that's okay. Just gives you another chance to crunch your way up and find that control. And now we're going to stay up. I'm going to grab behind your hamstrings. Okay. Extend one leg and bend. Extend the other. Relax the shoulders. So abdominals are stabilizing. We are in a C curve, spine flexion. And we're creating a little bit of balance challenge by extending one leg at a time. Get a little nice hamstring stretch and quad extension. You can see how a lot of these exercises all kind of flow into one another and have similarities in positions. This is sort of the tail end of the teaser, right? Try both legs. This looks like a teaser. I let my arms go. have my legs apart right now. You can also see how a teaser was similar to the roll-up, except our feet were off the ground instead of on the ground. Make one more. Now let's go into our leg circles. So here we want our abdominals to be nice and stable. And you stretch the hamstring, pull the leg across the midline, and basically work on your hips range of motion. How wide to the side do I want to take it? Well, as wide as my abs can handle. I don't want to drop my other knee to counterbalance. I don't want to fall. So you want to decide how big and challenging to make your circle. The reason the bigger circle is more challenging because it's more work for your abs to stabilize your body so it doesn't lean. Inhale at the top. Exhale at the bottom. There's going to be some external rotation of the leg as you circle outward, and that's okay. Reverse direction. Inhale. Exhale. Two more. Good. Hug that knee in and rotate the ankles. Reverse direction. Ankles actually are not part of your core. But the reason we point and flex and also just do some ankle rotation is because if you have a broken ankle or a sprained ankle or a stiff ankle or anything that's going on with your ankle, it actually affects the rest of your body because it's the kinetic chain. It's whatever's happening with your ankle is going to affect your knee. Whatever's happening to your knee is going to affect your hip. It affects your hips. It affects your spine. It can affect your spine. It can affect your shoulder. So it's all connected. I'm circling my other leg nice and slowly, but I can already feel that I'm much tighter in this leg than the other leg. My circle is smaller. And that's okay. Reverse direction. Finishing up on the last one. And once again, hug that knee in and rotate. The ankles. Well, when I say rotate, it's not a perfect circle. It's not like your hip socket. The ankle joint is not a ball and socket joint. Reverse direction. It does feel like you're making a circle. That's mostly a point flex with a little bit of lateral tilts. And that's because if you ever run side to side, your ankle has to bend in a little bit. All interesting things. Okay, we're not quite done. We're going to just do our... I really like this one. When we draw our Ds, we do a semicircle and then loop down. I'm actually not going to do the Ds today. I'm just going to do an open and close. So I really want to just focus on the hips. So have your hands down here for support if needed, abs tight. In case gravity wants to pull your legs down farther than your hips actually want to go. Have your hands ready. I want you to exhale, use your inner thighs, squeeze your legs nice and straight, and lift it up. Grab that $100 bill. Squeeze. It's not just about touching your legs, but actually squeezing your legs together when they touch. Now open up with control. This is going into the stretch. You don't want to just relax and drop because you could really tear your muscles or, pull a groin muscle that way. So we're lowering it into a controlled stretch. Exhale, squeeze. So I'm not making D's today, not making a shape, no semicircle. We're just opening. And exhale, closing, squeeze. And again, once your feet touch, an extra little squeeze. Just to get a little bit more into the inner thigh there. We're actually going so slowly that you might want to inhale and exhale for each one. I'm definitely exhaling when I squeeze my legs together. I start to inhale here, but since we're moving so slowly, I take another exhale. As long as you're breathing, it's all good. Maybe with each lowering, your muscles stretch a little bit more and your legs open a little wider. But again, make sure it's okay with your joint. It's not just about the muscles. It's also about the ligaments there and the tendons. All right, last one. All right, good. Do a little mermaid stretch here. I don't always do a stretch after Pilates. Pretty much a stretch throughout, stretch and strength throughout. But sometimes feels nice. Take it all the way to the other side. Okay, swing your legs around. Do mermaid on the other side. I'm trying to stretch here, so I'm reaching up and over, and a little bit of lift in the bottom oblique here. And then here you definitely feel it. All right, I'd say I have a pretty good workout because my hair is super messy. Didn't you know that's how you judge your workouts? If your hair is messy at the end?